y'all. Welcome to Out of Pocket. In this two-part episode, we give you our full review of Pokemon Scarlet slash Violet, diving into how we feel about the story, the gameplay mechanics, and how it sets up Pokemon games moving forward.
We'll start with our thoughts about the game, plot lines, and main characters. So what are your thoughts about the story for? Because these are three actually. They have kind of three distinct storylines.
There's
So
a
what
lot
is
going
your?
on. Yeah.
It was. I genuinely am like impressed that they did that and it made sense in that in universe. But so what are your thoughts about like since you did the Path of Legends, we both did that. We was trying to get them Titans up out of here. What are your thoughts about that story?
About the story or about the gameplay of it? Because I thought that the story was I did not like Arvin, which we'll get to. We're going to talk about the characters after. And so this story, I think most people watching this have probably at least started playing the game. Maybe some of you have finished. If you haven't, if maybe you just got it for Christmas and you're like wanting to know what people think. Um, this path, there's a student who has a hurt Pokemon and is like going all over trying to find stuff for it. So we have to travel the map. We have to fight Titans, which are these super strong Pokemon, and that's part of how you get the things. So I liked the idea of the Titan Pokemon. I liked like going to see what they would be and like the battling part of it. But the whole I think I would have been cool with the story. I like that the story helps you think about, and we talk about this in another episode, like the reality of like these Pokemon, the fact that they can get hurt, the sort of mortality of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. There's a lot going on. So it's like super kind of emotional. But then at the end, uh Bra heals the Pokemon and is then using it to like battle again. And I was like, I don't know what the lesson we're supposed to take from this
Right.
is, but
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, it
Um.
was cool. You,
No, it's like I was in the same place with like I actually genuinely liked like what they introduced and like in terms of us thinking about Pokemon as like individuals with like we use our Pokemon largely in the service of like battling and other things like that, and we don't get a chance necessarily to have them in like a pet kind of way. Like we do, you can do the picnic, you can give them baths and stuff. There's
yeah.
not like the partner Pokemon is just the first Pokemon out. It's not like they're not a pet, but when you have that storyline, you have it where like this is somebody was raised with this Pokemon the way we have like our animals that we had in our families. Or so I love actually the idea that they really gave us like it kind of gave weight to what like Pokemon are not just like tools or whatever, like they can be emotionally important to people. And we get that obviously in the shows and whatnot as well. But also that's also kind of treated as like an outlier thing at the same time. Like, damn, you actually care about your Pokemon? That's
Yeah.
wild. So, so I love that they actually made it a part of the story. But yeah, after you do the whole thing and you are
All
like,
of
oh
that.
my goodness, we got him, like
You
we
done
did it.
climbed
And then
mountains.
yeah, like you do all that to save the Pokemon, and then the next time you see Mans, he like me and this Pokemon that you was thought on death's door, like we finna fight you. And I'm like, now I gotta beat him up. Like I gotta do that myself
Yes.
so I can progress. But I also take it, and this might not be a Pokemon lore thing, and I do plan to kind of get into the lore more, especially between like when we get to our next season. But like I know in other battle type games or like similar like Digimon and other, there's like a kind of in universe lore where like battling is a part of how they maintain their like health and vitality. It's like this is their like like some people are like I'm born to be this or be that. That's kind of how like Pokemon are. Like they live to battle. It makes them happy. It gives them purpose. Blah 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 blah. I don't know if that's true in Pokemon, but that is a common thing for them to justify them basically battling for their life every day, right? So maybe that's a part of it, and it's like he would not feel like that's how you make this Pokemon feel valuable. It's like that's how they show their, you know what I mean? Like, and I can
I
see
feel
that, but
like
it was
he
just
could
so,
have
it was
come to
very
that
jarring.
conclusion like more than 5 seconds after, though. Like if we
No,
had done
I
the
think
thing, he
that's one
gets
of those
better,
things.
Arvin disappears, and then comes back and is like, after 3 days watching him feel so sad about not battling, I want to like give him the chance to like, right? But it was like,
See,
oh,
that's
he
the thing. I
better.
think, I think that's one of the this is one of the story things that I think the problem, there's a problem with the fact that everybody experiences this story in different orders. So
Mm.
for us, we was like bop, 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 and then we going to Arvin, right? I actually think if you had done it in a scattered way, it would have been a gap between you finishing the Titan and then you doing other stuff and then coming back to battle him. So technically, it would have been enough time would have passed. But because we all was like, I'm about to knock this whole Titan storyline out, boop, 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 this is getting done. We went straight from like that one because you like when you if you actually looking at it like reading it, it's like yeah, we gonna regroup, whatever. I don't know, but it's just because you experience the story immediately after. Like time has no meaning in this
I
game.
think that
So
would
it's
have
like 5
happened.
minutes. But that journey, like how long does it take actually in universe? I don't actually know. We like fly all over the place. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's what makes it jarring too, is the fact that it was like this happened in my real life. This 1 minute, like I literally left, flew over here, then you started to fight with me. So, and maybe that's on me for flying over there. But my point being, like, because we experience
I did
time
this. It said like,
differently.
meet me right here. Like it said, follow me right there.
That's
Right?
true.
Like
So
it was
yeah,
like,
but I'm like, yeah, that journey in for us is moments, and like within the story, we
okay,
traversed Paldea to get back to this location. So maybe that was a couple
okay,
days.
all
Maybe
right.
he had
So
time to
on
think
the
on it.
journey
I don't
back,
know.
he had time to reflect on whether or
Yeah,
not to
him
put.
and my boss still were like, he like, you want to fight, bro? Like, are you back in the game, or you want me to retire you? Because I love you. I don't want you to get hurt. He was like, nah, woof woof. I'm ready to get in there. Let's go.
That feels like giving
That's what we
Arvin a
gonna
lot of
say.
credit, but I'll allow it.
No, we gonna do that because I I think that like when you know the story, which you get into, you know why he's the way he is. And so what and you mentioned like the bases. What did you think of the Starfall treat? Not necessarily the mechanics, but we'll get into kind of that, but the actual storyline about the Starfall Tree gang and like how they formed and why they exist. Like I love it as the fact that they are like it feels the most like they are a gang, like flying colors. It's the most like approachable, I would say, of the like teams that you have, like the antagonistic teams you have in each story. I feel like it's the
Yeah,
most like
yeah, for sure.
very clear what it is,
But
and
it's
I
because
like
they're
that
not
they have
actually
a
evil,
storyline.
right? Like,
Cause I definitely wanted to like I was like I'm with the story like why I can't do all like I wanted to do the whole. I like that. I was like I like they
you're
vibe. I
like,
hope
let
they
me
like
join.
I was
They
like,
have
I
to
genuinely
swear
hope.
allegiance.
I kind of willed it into existence. I was like, I hope they actually ain't bad because I kind of like the whole vibe they got. So that kind of end up and like all the designs, but that's character stuff. But like, yeah, but the story. What did you think about it?
Yeah,
Not me putting on
so it
chapstick.
got very convoluted, in a way I don't think it needed to towards the end. Like that was kind of frustrating. I lost. They lost the plot. I'm not gonna say I lost the plot. I didn't write the plot, but multiple like the old administrator coming through to talk about like I don't even know why he needed to be there, but the whole like kids in the school like forming this bond um because of the way that they're treated and then being sort of mischaracterized and misunderstood I thought was great and super like that is I just feel like that's what happens in schools, right? Teachers think they know what's going on. So what they like, oh, like these children, they miss in class, they're like intimidating other people, they got all this going on. They're threatening to expel them, and then you go through the whole thing and it's like, oh, they're really just out here chilling. Like find a way
No, I'm
to
just out here chilling.
I mean they're battle like they're not hurting anyone, I guess.
I guess if you don't come today like turf, if you don't start, don't start
Hey, right, if
then
you don't go looking
won't
for
be
them, don't
none.
go looking
Like
for them. They
Don't
not
like
looking for you. It's that
it's
simple.
they said do not come for us and we will
You
not
said,
send for you.
"Go look for your treasure," and they said,
Mm.
"Bet." Like, you
My
got it.
treasure is friendship, camaraderie.
They're
And I
like,
love that.
I have questions about the, like, bases. Like, how are these children securing turf? Like, actual land
Well, children
out
in the
there.
Pokemon universe have a lot of autonomy. I am pretty
Yeah, not
sure a
not even the
child could
autonomy, just, like
theoretically have a mortgage. Like I do believe
like,
that
did
is
they
possible in the
battle?
Pokemon universe.
You know, like, this is
No,
space.
I mean
Like, they
I think
got whole, like, acres.
they went to like areas that were like they really just colonized Pokemon territory.
That's what right?
They
Like,
went
they
to
just, like
areas where Pokemon were at minding their business. They were like, we gonna pitch our little like they pitch a tent, right? And it's one or two tents, and then more people are like, I heard that we have a little we have a
like,
little
whole
zone, a
colonies.
little safety area from school, and they was like, I want to come over here, and they brought their tent, so it ended up being a whole fiasco. But they actually took Pokemon territory because each that's why each base has the Titans because that was like the areas that
Right.
Pokemon was like, damn, and they recruited them, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But in the Pokemon universe,
Recruited
children
or
have the
captured? Because
ability
again,
again. Hey, they make it seem like Pokemon are happy to be uh received. However, some of them don't stand ball. So what is the truth? Expose coming soon. No.
I need
But
the
I really
expose. I
like the
do.
story, and I think it made the reason why they had all that like about the administration. I think it was their attempt to really like, and this is why I say this game is a little adult in a way, or like trying to be a little more mature in its concepts because it's very much like, and we know this as adult people watching, like the adults in this are wild because hey, they cause the problems with
Out of
children.
pocket.
Like they cause problems with children. They fight children. Okay, like battling is one thing. Technically, the Pokemon have to be matched. People don't have to be matched. But also, they just treat children, which in a way is like cool. Like, okay, you treat children with respect, but I don't think a 10-year-old deserves the same respect as like a 20-year-old. Like, I feel like a 10-year-old should be told what to do because they are very young. Uh, so
It's not
I like
respect
that
though. It's like
they tried
disregard.
whatever. That's what I'm saying. It's that line. It's like you giving them too much leeway. It's the opposite. They need a
Yeah.
little structure. They need a little security and help.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Whatever, I guess. Like, so I like that they
It
give
was
a
just
little bit of
confusing.
like they're like adults can mess up. Adults can like make mistakes, and then that can affect children. That can affect like this administrator thinks he's actually cracking down on the bullies because he got one part of the story and actually come to find out they were the ones being bullied. Then they said we gonna come together as a collective and swing on anybody who come over here. And people were scared to do it because it was just a group of them. They had grouped up. They was on. They didn't even. They talk about it the whole time. Like we didn't
They
have to
didn't
battle
even
nobody.
battle them. They're like, nobody came and battled us.
They said we didn't have to battle nobody. We just said we. They said gang. People was like, nah, that's too many people in one group. I ain't messing with it. And so they literally started a whole legend based on like nothing, which I just love. To me, that's
Boss
like a
moves.
fun thing, and I really did. I personally thought it was that was like I was over there cheering. I was like, y'all, so that's so cute. Like I love that for y'all. Do your thing, but also there was a lot of grand larceny going on and a lot of actual illegal activities happening in the.
That is a problem.
So that's the answer to that question. Also about those bases, it was handled. Okay, it was handled. They had the funding they needed. They were able to obtain the
Clearly.
resources they
Clearly.
needed.
You honestly, I didn't even think about it. You're right. Petty bitch. I want the dollar amount that she stole.
Cause she was
Pokemon
giving you, she
League.
was just giving you the little lead points. She wasn't giving you no
That-
Duckaroo. That was she was saving that for the bases and for keep her people fed and keep her people, laced up in the finest costumes.
Listen, had a
I'm
budget.
just saying. Okay. She was out here.
What
Okay.
they need
That
school
Team
for?
Star 401k is looking real nice. They set. Don't worry about that. When they graduate, they already ready to go. Don't worry about that. So yeah.
It was too much, but it was fun. And I
I
think that
genuinely
like
love it. Like I thought it was so fun. And I liked that they gave us the like each of those characters' little like backstories and how they came to that group and how they bonded. And I was like, this is literally such a cute thing. Because even as an adult, it's like we find our people and we bond, and that's like a hard thing to sometimes like
Yeah,
show. And
I
I was
think
like,
for
that they
like
did a really good job. But I do think this is a criticism
queer
that probably
fans,
belongs somewhere else. But they should have had. I wish they would have. We didn't have to read all that. Like I really wish it wouldn't
yeah,
have just been text. I wish that would have been
there
voice
was a lot
acted.
of
I think that
text.
would have been more effective in terms of like putting that story out and making it make sense. And I understand the reasons why they wouldn't, but we are moving so far ahead in other ways in this franchise. Finally, having voice acting would have been a good leap
Mm.
to make, especially for the stories that they're telling. Because all of these stories, to me, would be even more impactful if you were watching it like as cutscenes versus reading it as like you know. Then at a point you do start being
I
like, okay,
mean,
that's nice.
at least with the reading, you can like kind of click through. Like one, there will
Right, but
always be
that's my point. You
engaged
don't get then
voice
like if I'm at a
to
if
begin
I
with.
zone out,
Um,
the story is not being received because I'm just tired of clicking through screens. So I'm not actually engaged with the story in a way where if it's a cutscene, I can just sit down, watch that, be done with it, and then pick it back up. Like, and it's an option because usually cutscenes can be skipped in a lot of stuff. But yeah, I just it was a lot to read to the point where I was like, I would love to really sit here and read this, but I'm also tired of reading this. So I would just click through. I mean, I can read fast, so I read it, but like I don't think it hit the same as if I had to like sit with it, like hear it, whatever. That's just my personal thing. Like to me, it was too much clicking,
yeah,
reading for the amount of story they put in this game. Like I shouldn't have to read a little comic every time I beat a base. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have to, but that was me.
yeah. Yeah, and then the last thing I was gonna just say about Team Star, which I think is true for some of the gym leaders also, but they didn't have the same sort of like gang, I guess, or community like whole is I thought it was fun just also as like a queer player. I because one, a lot of their like outfits and just the way that they presented, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see you. I see you. But then just the like chosen community of it all and like the chaos of it all
I loved it.
feels I feel represented here.
Right,
A
that's what I
little
was
bit of
like.
it
It
in
just feels
it's like
again
the
like a
chaos
story
of
that
Team Rocket expanded to like a structure, like if Jesse and James had the to build their own group, I think it would have been like Starfall.
yeah, I can see it. I liked most of the like gym leaders and I liked how specific they were. I mean, that's one of the good things Pokemon has been doing this whole time. I will say this game is the first where I really thought at every turn, whose job is it to create these characters? Like I've never had that distinct thought. But in this game, it's like from the very beginning of the game all the way through. I'm just like, who is responsible
Who needs to
for
answer
this
for
character?
the
Like
crime?
design, who makes like like
It's
it's not
excessive.
even that. It's
It's
just like, what are you on? Like, what are y'all on? Because I remember going to the gym for the water gym leader. And I'm like, this man, facial hair is something so interesting. Who somebody at a studio was like, here we go, this is the one. And this is the first time I think I actively thought about what character creation must be like. Like really, because most of them, I'm like, oh, that's cool, that makes sense. I get it, whatever. Even if it's outlandish in other games, like what is Leon wearing? He got on gym shorts, he got on tight, he got a cape. It's a lot happening.
yeah.
There's a
Leon was
lot going
chaotic.
on. But like it's just more yeah, it's like weird in terms of style. It's like he's giving Disney Channel like very, a specific vibe. But this one, I'm just like, what are they on? And Victory Road is like every time I hit a gym or hit like I was just like, oh, I was just way more attuned to the idea, like the fact of like somebody sat down and created these. So to your point, now I'm gonna start with the fact that like my good sis name is Rhyme. Okay. She like
This could
visually,
have been
I was
cute,
with it. I
right?
loved her.
Yes.
I was like, visually, I was very much like, oh, this is giving, like, I would do this cosplay. I was like, I already have an idea of how to make this happen with my limited ability. Like, I'll with her visually. But I'm just like, we having a rap battle? Like, you trying to rap battle me? This black lady, the one
The
black
solo one,
lady,
the singular gym
the,
leader.
the one black lady, and I guess her twin that work at the school, but like, or is it the same person? Have we ever seen them at the same place at the same
No,
time?
I do. There are, yeah,
Inquiring
time
minds.
and rhyme.
I'm just saying, right? But I would, if I was making up a fake name, I would also just do that. That's all I'm saying. But like, we gonna have a rap battle, and it was one of those things where it wouldn't have bothered me if it literally was anybody else.
And the
Like, oh, we
raps
rap battling.
were terrible. So it was
But
like,
see, here's another funny thing. Because there's an episode of, I do not know which one, Pokemon Journeys, the one with Go.
Mhm.
They get, I talked about this before. They get like possessed by the Slow King, the Tails. I forgot the Shelters or whatever. I don't remember what they call it. They get possessed. They have a rap battle. This is a thing that happens on this show. It's horrible. It's horrible for like, it's like 5 minutes. It's not even like 30 seconds. It's like a 5-minute rap battle. Ash and
Oh
Go.
no.
They're like, yo, 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 here I go, go. So first and foremost, I was like, this track, it actually makes perfect sense with
For
me
who
having
they
no
are.
context
What's
of what a
happening?
rap battle in the
Oh
Pokemon universe
no.
would be. I was like,
No.
yeah. So it was like, okay. But yeah, and it was like, every time like she would do something like got him, I was just like, baby, that was not, you're not giving what needs to be
Oh, it
gave.
was
This
so
is where I wish
bad.
y'all would have actually leaned into some like chicanery and like gave us something really spicy or something, because it was just so like, somebody who looked like that is not giving you this.
Yeah.
Like, y'all definitely watered down what I think this person would produce in terms of rhymes. But also, when you look at the crowd or you look at like her little people, it's a lot of children. I'm like, maybe she just, like, we are kids. I have to remember too, like, maybe if she was coming at like Gita, right? Like, maybe
Hmm.
she's coming at the champion, she give her like the real heat. But because we were children, she's like, oh, I'm gonna give them like the nursery rhymes, like, yo, I'm going to take your Pokemon and then I'm going to say hi, like whatever. Like, I left room for the fact that like she might temper her rhymes for who the audience is in the moment. Like, oh, I'm battling a
It's
child.
just
Let's
like
keep it at this
you did
level.
not need
So
a
corny.
rapping gym leader. If you were gonna have a rapping gym leader, it did not have to be black. If they were going to be black, trying to
You
make
could
this
give
go.
them
It was
talent.
like um Killer Bee from Naruto, but like more dark. Because it was at least with
It was just
B,
so
everyone's like
funny.
you got right. There are other black characters we're to assume are black that are like you out of pocket, please sit down. With this one, everyone's like, yeah.
But I do love the opposite of that is I do like that they had the really cute and specific kind of, like, they had the streamer gamer girl,
Hmm.
which I thought was super
Yeah,
cute, and she had the little Magnemite buns. I said, oh, that's cute. I can't wait to see somebody like the cosplay
yeah,
renditions of that. And I also like that they had a different type of a similar thing though, like a different kind of influencer. Because we had the beauty influencer with Tulip, and she was like, "How do I look this good?" And I'm like, okay, she's giving, like, these are both two sides of a similar, like the same coin in a way. It's like they both kind of influencers, but this one is like the gamer girl, this is the beauty tuber. And I'm like, I love that we got that representation for like the youth. Like, they see, this is what their entertainment is.
yeah,
Like, you think of
yeah,
like us, we like watch TV, like we watch shows. They watch videos and like TikToks and YouTube, and like that's how they learn and like connect with each other. So I love that they had that representation, and they were so specific and like, again, like,
and like the
because also
jaded
the streamer was
one.
just, she was so she was like so cringe in a way. Like, she was so like, she leaned, like she was committed to it in a way. Like in real life, you would be like, I can't with her. She needs to go like outside, touch grass, right? But it was cute in the game. So I did like that, even though they gave the black lady like that persona. It does. I like that they gave other ones personas that, like, it didn't make her an outlier because they had other like really strong, specific, iconic imagery that we could pull from. But also, I also, with that said, love that she had the two. I mean, ghost types are fairly easy anyway, but I did love the double battles. I like how it
Mm.
connected to like rap battling. I don't know, something about it was like I like the consistency of this characterization, which again is like, who is responsible though? Like, how did you get? Did you work backwards from like, oh, doubles battles, rapping, a rapper? But like, was that the thing, or was like, I want a rapper? How do we fold that in to other stuff? That's what I want to know. So I gotta find that person. Let's have a kiki with them. So I would love to get the
I
breakdown
literally
on
have
how.
so many
Uh,
questions, yo. I don't know if they do panels about the games somewhere at some point, but like,
we gotta find out.
yeah,
We gotta find out, and then
we need a
also
full
be
panel.
in the audience. So Nimona, I kind of broke them up. We
So you
just
know
broke
how
them up
I
into
have
like
feelings like you ain't
things
been
that made sense. Go ahead.
slandering Nimona all up and down Beyonce's internet.
She deserved it, and I'll stand by it, and I do it again. So Nimona and Arvin, what are your thoughts on both of them?
I mean, Nimona, I was just unsure about for the whole game, but then you get to the end and you beat her, and she keeps the like cool. Like I thought they were gonna do like a bait and switch, like he was gonna win and she was gonna like rip be extra angry, but she kept the sort of, you know, oblivious, optimist, whatever. So what,
The
fine.
positive, yeah,
Um,
toxic positivity.
yeah, truly.
No, I see. I think, and this is another reason why voice actors would be great because I was reading her very passive aggressive. Like the whole time I was reading her, like you would pick that Pokemon. Oh, I can see you at that gym. I can, and I was like, "Are you trying to fight? Like, if you want to just throw hands, we can skip the Pokemon." Like that's how I was reading it, but that's because it's up to my interpretation. If they had a voice actor and they could give us inflections and stuff, it might help. So the whole time I'm like, I can't wait to throw the hands in a real way with her. Like I can't wait to get, like I wanted to get the hands so bad just to have this out with her, right? But like I also knew, I was like, I think they are being earnest, like they are with Hop and with the other ones. Like they are genuinely just like, yeah, we're rivals and we make each other better. But I'm like, nah, you make me want to fight, like in a violent way. Like I want to beat you up. So I don't think that her dialogue does not register as neutral to me at all. I'm like, y'all, this is another thing about the script. Like y'all definitely was not the people writing or coming up with some of these lines were not people that use the language regularly. Is my thought. Like
Absolutely.
they just hear it, but it's not how. So they don't know
Even though they hear
things.
it,
I don't know.
it's
I
like
was
they
being there
did a
passive
like
aggressive the whole time.
a freaking like feeding like a like a bunch of social media posts into a thing, and just were like,
Right.
ooh,
They probably did. I mean, it's probably partially like AI generated, like, oh, this seems like what the kids will say, like whatever. So yeah, I like throughout the game, I didn't like her. And at the end, I still didn't like her because I felt like she was too singular focused on her things, which is like it's like real shit happening right here.
you're right.
And you like we have a
The
real
world
deep
is
stuff happening. You
ending.
up here trying to see these Pokemon fight. Right? Like you like, oh, but hey, he fighting. I'm like, this ain't the time. Like, yes, this is happening, but like there are bigger things at play here. You just like happy to finally see Miraidon get into a fight. That's weird. Like for that to be like you are so like it was just weird. And like I think Brittany is the one who said like it's very single white female. It's very much like, oh, I love you so much, I want to wear your face. Like I just love you. Like it also went that way. So it was like two things. It's like the passive aggressive, like I actually don't like you, or I like you so much I want to be you. Like I want to live in your skin. And I was like, either of those are not
Yeah,
great. Like they needed to
those were definitely
take
the
her down
vibes.
several notches. Like what are the other feels dangerous to me is my thing. Um, like girl,
It was cool to
please,
see
I
them
beg.
like interact with each other at different, like you get,
That way.
Penny, they all kind of interact with the director with Clavel at some point, but then you have a moment where you've got Arvin, Nimona, and like Penny or Cassiopeia all together. And just anytime Nimona starts, Penny is like, "You a fool, Penny."
Right. Like Penny was I was Penny in that in the end game, like, me and Penny was so I'm like, are y'all and like here's the thing with Arvin. I didn't like because I think I might have had recorded or streamed that, but I was just like, who is this boy with all this hair with them eyelashes coming over here being like sassy and like hating? Like, you too pretty to be all in my business. You too pretty to be out here worried about stupid stuff, right? Because we don't know yet that he's going through something, right? And we don't know that he's apparently an orphan.
A
Because as Jordan
fatherless
has been pointing out, like,
child.
damn, depending on what game you in, yeah, he's like he ain't got no parents. He been in these streets with that
Oh my
one
gosh.
dog the whole time. Which is like, when you think about it, completely separated from everything else, you're like, damn, that's actually wild, right? But yeah, so he did come at you with hostile energy. But when I think about it, like, he gave us Maridon. Like, because of, like, he was like, you can take it. I was like, good, I'm gonna take it. Like, whatever. Like, you a hater. But then, you know what? He gave you a sandwich. You know, like, he was like, since you helped, I guess I'll make you a little sandwich. And like, then he start enthusiastically making you sandwiches. And you and Mariah, because he knew Mariah was gonna eat your sandwich. He's like, I guess I'll make extra sandwiches since he gonna keep eating damn sandwiches. So like, he was just doing that thing where, like, he's so used to being hurt that he just always pushes people away. And then once he realized you was actually real and very real about that life, he was like, no, I like them. And then he was very loyal, and he was like, I'll show up even though he didn't have no hands. And he said that the whole time throughout the whole game. He's like, I don't have hands. My Pokemon don't have hands. My dog got beat up. Everything. But I'm gonna come and support you. Anyway, which is like, cool, I guess. I don't personally want to be involved with putting the dog in danger again, because I personally was very invested in his recovery. But fine, if you coming, at least I can protect you, because y'all keep putting yourself in situations you are clearly unequipped for.
It seems like he came
like
by that honest though,
so
so you know.
Right. Right. And I do like that they make it where, because he's with you and y'all are going after the Titans, he gets stronger as a part. Like, it's another kind of element to that rival thing, but it's not so aggressively like, hey, let's fight every time we see each other.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he probably has the best like arc of these characters. You have a fair point.
Yeah, he actually has a really good arc, and he has like a nice like wide-rated team, because he had to have somebody to counter each of the Titans. It was a whole thing. So I actually like Arvin, and I thought his design was super. I was like, they did what they had to do, like the hair. He had the little baby hair on the side. Like, I was like, so when it's revealed who his dad is, I said, I see it, because his dad is fine as hell. We're gonna circle back to that. So Cassiopeia and Clive. I'm putting Clive, okay, as a character, even though Clive is, if you know, you know. If you don't know, we ain't gonna tell you, but I guess you'll figure it out. So my thing is, I actually, when it was after we saved Penny at the very beginning, or not saved, but like intervene, I'm like, oh, they cute, I like them. Then we get an anonymous call from one in Cassiopeia, like, hey, these bullies out here. I said, that's definitely Penny. Like, that was my first thought. Like, it's her, right? Because why would they introduce this character? And she got Eevee, like, her outfit is everything. I'm like, I need that whole top, that
Eevee backpack.
But yeah, it's like the whole thing is so cute. So I was like, yeah, that's definitely. And then they throw Clive in there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Y'all gonna keep playing in my face. But I understood his reasoning of why he was there, because he's just trying to get the information, get the tea. And I kind of appreciate that he went so far to actually understand his students as to participate in such chicanery.
I love that they gave us the opportunity every time to be like, you are Clavel.
Like, to clock him.
And that's the
like,
one I picked every single time. And he's like, don't be silly.
Like, stop it with the bouffant. Like, get out of here with the pompadour. Pompadours were the unofficial theme of this. And I know they're aware of it, but I don't know why they were committed to it.
I love it.
Like, it wasn't it's not an accidental thing. It's definitely intentional.
The sign of the future. That's what they said.
But it was definitely something about the pompadour that they felt strongly about.
With like the future, and this is it.
Pokemon, like, they was like, this new one, little Crackly, he gonna have him a cute little situation. Several of these birds, and got a couple little bouffants and pompadour. I'm like, y'all are committed to this, but for no discernible reason. Like, there is no plot reason. There is no, I don't know. But I knew Penny was, this is a spoiler. I knew Penny was Cassiopeia, but I didn't know how they were going to circle back to, or like what they were going to make the plot. This before, obviously, once they started revealing the plot, I'm like, oh, of course, this makes sense, because nobody had met Penny. So I was like, Yeah. I mean, Cathiopia. So it was a whole thing. So I knew. So I was ready for it. They didn't do the gotcha. They didn't do the gotcha. I was like, wait, no, he didn't. But then it was fine. I was like, no, I was correct. Okay, circle back. Um. So yeah, I actually liked Clive. I like that they had again that character that's like an adult that's like genuinely trying to understand the youth and like in a proactive way. Like I'm not gonna just let
Yeah.
kids tell me because everybody's gonna tell me their side of the story and I'm not gonna get to see. He like, hey, see you go in there and interact with these folks. He see how they take up for each other. He like, this don't feel like
Mhm.
bad kids, right? And like so I love that part of the story and that feels very like I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting thing that they I don't like didn't really have to do. I don't know. It was like a cute story. I was like, oh,
And they also had it
he's
so
actually a
you
really
could
good administrator.
talk to the other teachers, right? Like, you can build relationships with them, you can go to their classroom and just, like,
Yeah.
chat with them and, whatever, so they seem to think a lot about that, piece of it, and that was cool.
Yeah, it was definitely. And again, that's kind of going to the next. So I put Clavel or Clavel and Academy staff as like characters because I did actually enjoy the opportunity to like go and like converse with like the nurse.
Mhm.
And like if you continue talking to her, you
She's got
realize because she's like, I'm
problems.
only a nurse because I failed. Right, she failed out of like the
Like, "Ma'am, you
licensing
should not be discussing this with
program. Which
children.
again, this is what I'm like. I should not know this information, but like she fell out of like the
She
licensing
can't pass her
program, so she
test."
became a school nurse. But then she went back, right? Then she like I'm a study. She went back. She passed her test. So by depending on your relationship with her, you learn like, oh, I took the test and I actually am in next year or whatever. Because this year they ain't gonna have an opening in the middle of the school year. You know, I'm applied to be the health teacher or something like that. And I'm just like, go girl, yes, you did that. Like I love that that's an opportunity that you have to learn about a character and just randomly. Like you don't have to, you don't really gain nothing from it. I mean, maybe you do. I was like, she the health teacher, maybe we get like, I don't know, something a little razzle dazzle. I don't know. But the biology teacher, you get something if you go like have a conversation with them and you go back and be like, oh, I have this many, you get like balls and
Mhm.
such on top of the stuff you get for filling out your decks. Um, so that's cool too. And like, I don't know, I just thought that was like a cute element because there are like you do have those instructors in real life. If you're lucky, obviously every school is different, but I feel like at least one or two that you just had that you were like, that is my dog. Like, I hope they doing well, or like you Google find out, like you know what I mean. So I like that you could. School to me didn't have. I was not going through a lot of classes. Because again, it's a lot of clicking. I'm not clicking. I don't care. You do learn stuff. I will say that there were a few things that I did not understand until I took a class, and I was like, oh, like, and I'm talking about stuff that I have just the whole entirety of Pokemon series I had no concept of. I just ignored it as a thing I did not pay attention to. And they said, I was like, oh, this is so obvious now. But I'm not doing that like more than once or twice per subject. I just don't have it in me. But that also gives you something to do if you just want to play the game and you already know the story. So maybe I will. But I really like that you can meet and like talk to all those professors. And like some of them have a little attitude that if you talk to them like earlier, but then if you like catch them at a certain point in the game, you talk to them again, they are nicer because of how the story went or wherever you are. So like that was fun. I actually genuinely like that element that I didn't realize I would like. But it was really cute, and I was like, that's something they can build on in the future or in this game if they do expansions of like if you have relationships with certain people, it could have benefits to like how you are able to progress through the world. So like maybe if you have really high relationship with the nurse, like maybe your Pokemon will self heal after a certain amount of time, so you don't have to go to Poke Centers as much or have picnics as much. Or maybe you have a good relationship with the biology teacher or whatever. You have like when you see Pokemon in the streets, you can identify them even if they're not in your decks or something like that. Like some little things that make it where you have a reason to build relationships. And finally, my little digital boyfriend, Professor Toro. It's important for me that y'all know that from the moment that he aggressively appeared on that Zoom call in the office, in Clavel's office,
Oh my gosh.
looking very, I was like, this is a very fine character, right? Like before we know anything, I was like, I don't know who this is. but I am rooting for him. Okay. And then he started hitting me with the ta-ta-ta, and I'm like, hello. And he's like, oh, I see you did this. And I started being suspicious. Like, why can't you see what I'm doing? That's wild to me that you know what I'm doing. How do we even get service in this cave? Like I just came out of cave and you already got me on the line. Interesting. So I was already suspicious, but I was like, he fine, so he could call me if he need to. Also, I'm talking about me, not my child
I
character.
wasn't gonna say it. I was just gonna leave it alone.
Me as the adult watching it is like, I think he's cute. My child character is like, why did this old man keep calling me? Like, I don't appreciate it personally. Yeah, like I'm like, I feel like that could be its own episode.
Yeah.
Everything that occurred with that.
Go watch the
But we'll
live
talk about the
stream.
story part of that.
Honestly.
Yeah, the live stream episode, which technically will come out before this. So it will be up. Please watch it. A, it's funny. B, we really get into like this storyline. It's a lot. But also, child. But it was given what needed to be gave, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Especially with the eyes went all I said, oh, this is apparently a thing I like. Unrelated to the story, just as an aesthetic, I was with it and I was rooting for him. And I hope he in the future out here being a bad bitch. That's all I can hope for him. And or if you
A
have
mess.
Scarlet in it, her, I don't know what going to the past would do. I'm not doing that, but they ain't gonna do with me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun. Like you definitely get suspicious as the game goes on. You get suspicious toward the end. You're like, this is a whole setup. But I think that they laid it out in a fun way. And I think where you have all the other characters that are like mostly neutral good, maybe a little chaotic good. Then you also have this one that like ends up leaning the other. I mean, I don't think they don't make him like evil. He's just like weird and selfish and like it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
Yeah, I don't think this one has a like I genuinely don't think this game has a
I think
villain
Toro is supposed to
or
be like,
that's one thing. I think he's the closest to it, but I think they make a point of like, hey, the person we're interacting with is not operating from this
mhm,
place. They are not trying to make this thing happen. But we don't get that information obviously to the end. And then we get it, and it's like technically I could argue that Professor Turo is the bad guy, but then you also are not dealing with Professor Toro. So it's tricky. It's a tricky dicky. Even though there was that part, it's like Professor Turo, and I'm like, oh, is it conscious of what's going on? Like they played with the if you just during the whole sequence with Professor Turo, if you just read like the dialogue and the name that they attribute it to whoever's speaking at that moment. So I found that part very interesting. But I like the character as a like I thought they did a good job of making like building that up to being a mystery, and then also it actually being super
yeah,
like a really well executed. um like they didn't build it up and then you get to the base or get to whatever and it's like whatever, it's nothing. It ends up being easy. It was like a whole story that ended up being like extreme. Like you could not have put like I could have not gotten to this place mentally. Like I could guess a lot of things, but this I could not have. Okay. We went to several places. Like even if you got one part of it, like, oh, I don't think this is a real person. This might be like AI or whatever. But I think we all kind of say it like, I don't know, this given, but you still don't know the full extent of that story. So I like that character and how they played with that. And I really liked all the variations of that character's personality in the final battle. I was like, wow, they keep escalating. It was very fun. And it's really fun to watch. It's I think more fun to watch because you are not having to think about battling or whatever. You can just watch it. So yeah, Professor Toro is that one. But I think he would be the villain if we had to assign somebody the
mhm.
title. It would be them. But I also think they didn't they gave a lot for us, which again, very kind of mature in that, like, it's very gray. A lot of gray area, a lot of like stuff to little marinate on.
Mhm.
So yeah, I loved it.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening to this first long part of our game review. We will be back next week with more opinions on other elements of gameplay, like the mechanics, the setting, and some of our favorite things. You can subscribe to our YouTube at Black Pokemon Pod. That's BLK Pokemon Pod to catch the next episode and our upcoming live streams.
We're BLK Pokemon Pod on all socials. You can follow us and talk to us using the hashtag Outta Pocket.